everybody won't stop talking about the Lakers. Like that.
I
So
know.
LeBron's going to have a couple of good games early, and people will not stop talking about that. And the number's going to get shorter, but no, he's not winning. No, the idea of what Noops was saying about players that are like top 10 in the odds, kind of going against each other a little bit. But that's not happening with the Celtics. And their title odds are so short. Like, I think that's a good look. And the question is this the best Tatum number that you're going to get at plus 750? That's kind of where I'm at there. I mean, yeah, sure. I guess Jokic is the best player in the world. He could do it again. Sure, he probably could. At plus 450, maybe it ends up being the number. I don't know. The Luka thing, it feels like people are trying to force it to happen every single year. He's
Oh
placed in
man.
the same spot, and then it fades, and it fades away by the end of the season. It just feels like that is the most obvious play if you're looking at the top of the board. And value-wise, I don't really see one. Like, I thought Noops hit on all the key points, and Tatum, yeah, if you're going with – unless you're in a Durant, I guess. But then you're not worried about Booker taking votes away.
Yeah, I thought Noops nailed it by mentioning the point. Like, you look at some of these teams, they have multiple superstars that they're going to steal votes from each other. And that really does leave Tatum there. When you look at some of these other teams, and you're right, Joe, I've done the Doncic thing, not doing it
Well,
again.
yeah. No.
I
It's
have
always
bet on
price
Luka
fair. Yeah.
MVP and regretted it. It's like betting on the Clippers to win the West or do something. I'm never doing that again either. So yeah, I love it. I think it makes a lot of sense, especially when you look at the Suns, the Bucks, some of and Jokic. I mean, gosh, is he gonna do it again? That would be crazy. I guess you could look at Shea Gilgeous-Alexander as well, right?
SGA. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
if
see,
you're
they're
gonna
good.
take that
Are they
strategy of
are
starting
you
as a
buying
starter.
into they're going to be the buzzy team, right? That they've been really popular. The win total has moved, and people are picking Chat for rookie of the year, defensive player of the year. Some are doing that. Like, there's a lot out there. Like, if you're buying into the Thunder making this big jump, that's what a lot of people are looking for. Okay, who's this year's Kings? Well, that doesn't happen every year. Okay. People are going to look for that sort of thing. But if you're high on a specific team, how are they going to get credit? Like, I understand that idea. Like, if you are high on
Mhm.
the Thunder, then you probably should be thinking SGA can get an award, or Chet, there's a chance, or maybe you look at Coach of the Year. So that's one other thing that's certainly worth noting to me. I'm shocked.
Defensive Player of the Year is one of the simplest awards to handicap in the NBA. You have to be on a top 3 defense, and that's pretty much it. If you're the best defender on a top 3 defense, you're going to win Defensive Player of the Year. Now, it can be a little hard to figure out who the top 3 defenses are going to be, but when you look at this Brooklyn Nets lineup, even if Simmons, again, isn't what he was in Philadelphia, which when he was in Philadelphia was arguably the best defender in the league, you're looking at a lineup with athletic, long guys that all try hard on defense. There's at least 5 or 6 great defenders on this team. And it's a Nets team that's going to struggle to score points. So Jacques Vaughn's been a really good coach. I expect them to tie things down defensively. Now, I didn't just bet Simmons. It's a huge number. He's around 100 to 1. The other net that I like, and I think has a much more serious chance, and maybe you won't laugh at this one, is Nick Claxton. He is an incredible defender, exactly what you want from a defensive centerpiece in the NBA today. He can protect the rim. He can guard players out on the perimeter, and he's 25 to 1. I think that's a really nice bet. The other one I'll mention quickly, too, is MVP. Generally, this is not a market I like to bet, but the way that everyone's been kind of grouped this year, Kevin Durant and Booker are going to steal votes from each other. Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo are going to steal votes from each other. In the outlandish case that it's LeBron and AD, they're going to steal votes from each other. So you can really go through this list and cross a lot of names off. My favorite is Jason Tatum at plus 700. The Celtics team is going to be fantastic. It's going to be his team. He's going to get all the recognition for this. So if the Celtics can win 65% of the games like everyone is expecting, and Tatum, again, is a 32-point-per-game scorer with a lot of good other stuff in there and some big moments like he has every year, that 7-1 number is going to be much, much smaller pretty quickly. So grab yourself some Tatum at plus 700.
No, and I was talking to a couple folks about this, and I think Drake May, even with the loss, Drake May looked better in that loss than Caleb looked in his loss. And the big thing for me when I'm watching these games, and I'm looking for advancement, right? I'm looking for development. And I don't see him getting better. I see him doing a lot of the same things. And now that teams have a beat on it, they're making him make mistakes. And now that he's making mistakes, there's frustration, and you can see it on the sidelines, and that's the whole deal. So when I look at him, I think May has an opportunity to push, but I also think Penix, a guy who I said should be the front runner for the Heisman, Penix has an opportunity to push as well. And so with Caleb Williams, we also have to go to the NFL, right? So you got to look at what Lincoln Riley's done. And he's had Kyler Murray. I'm not giving him Jalen Hurts. I'm gonna leave Jalen Hurts at Alabama. I'm gonna leave him at Alabama simply because there's no other Oklahoma quarterbacks that are squatting 700 pounds. That's Bama built, so I'm gonna go with that.
Mm-hmm.
But Baker Mayfield also as a top pick, and both of those guys, one's been around the league. He's already been around the block in Baker, and then the other one, his own team does not want him to play in Kyler Murray. So I think kind of the shines come off the apple with Lincoln Riley, and you watch him, how frustrated he's been getting over the course of these games and not being able to get stuff done. I just don't, when I watch Caleb Williams play, a lot of it is out of phase. A lot of it is out of the structure of an offense. And to be in the NFL, you've got to play within the offensive structure. Drake May plays within the structure of that offense. Do I love that offense? Not exactly, but he still plays within the structure of an offense. It's not all improv. And so I think that's the difference here. And yeah, there's going to be somebody, whether it's like the Colts with Anthony Richardson, that are going to take a gamble on someone that's willing to play that makes their best plays with it outside of the structure of the offense. But I think Drake May is now becoming more of a Drake May and Michael Penix are becoming more. They're bubbling up from everyone I talk to from an NFL standpoint because they play within the structure and they find ways to make plays. They know when guys are supposed to be open. They understand where the plays are made instead of everything else. They can use the auxiliary, but at the end of the day, what we're seeing is teams want guys that can still play within the structure.
I'm talking about the Seattle Seahawks. They are plus 140 to miss. They have played a top 3 easy schedule, and moving forward, they have a top 3 most difficult schedule. Geno Smith does not look the same as last year. Their run defense is very strong, but I have my concerns. And DK Metcalf was not out there, so he's been hobbled. And even when he has been out there, what's his productivity? Not what we've seen over the last couple of years. I have legitimate concerns about the Seattle Seahawks moving forward. They're plus 140 to miss. I don't know that there's a ton of value, but the team we just talked about, Minnesota, and what we said at the top about Flores kind of figured things out with his brand new scheme with this team and the personnel changes they've gone through. If they don't sell off, I think you've got to look at Minnesota at 2-1 to make. So those are the first two that jumped out to me. Plus 140 to miss for Seattle, plus 200 to make